radical left mobs in order for Joe Biden to condemn this.
I don't understand how we have leaders who think that it's okay to tell us as parents that our kids can go and get an abortion without our consent. Yet we have no right to keep them home from school. It's completely hypocritical.
Can't believe that he's calling these folks peaceful protesters.
Well, I think Joe Biden is totally on the wrong page on this, and he's completely out of step with where American women are when they talk about how to protect their families.
We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Team Trump Online. I'm Laura Trump, Senior Advisor to President Trump's re-election campaign. As always, folks, please be sure to like and share this broadcast with your friends and family. Tonight, I am so excited to be joined by Republican House Whip Congressman Steve Scalise. Mr. Scalise, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, Laura, great to be with you. Great to be back with you. And thank you for everything you do to help the president and to focus people on what's important this November. Obviously, we've got to hold the White House. President Trump's done a great job. You've been out there on the road a lot, and you do a great job representing the president and his message. So thank you for your work.
Absolutely. Well, we know that it is a crucial election. And in case you hadn't been paying attention, lately we have seen the radical left Democrats call to defund and dismantle the brave law enforcement in our country. And Joe Biden agrees with their cause. Let's check this clip out of Joe Biden.
Surplus military equipment for law enforcement. They don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Congressman Scalise, you of anyone know the importance of local law enforcement. You have an incredibly powerful story. Yet here's Joe Biden calling police the enemy. Give me your thoughts on that.
Trump campaign is now reaching voters online.
You are seeing the President of the United States. Look at the lines.
You joined our movement.
A lot of President Trump supporters here.
Greatest movement in the history of our country.
Joe Biden refuses, as the leader of the Democrat Party, to speak out and put an end to the lawlessness.
He's ashamed of our country. The VA, as I said earlier, was just a mess under the Obama-Biden administration.
How many police officers need to be assaulted in the streets of Portland by radical left mobs in order for Joe Biden to condemn this?
I don't understand how we have leaders who think that it's okay to tell us as parents that our kids can go and get an abortion without our consent. Yet we have no right to keep them home from school. It's completely hypocritical.
Can't believe that he's calling these folks peaceful protesters.
Well, I think Joe Biden is totally on the wrong page on this, and he's completely out of step with where American women are when they talk about how to protect their families.
We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online.
joining us here today. My name is Mercedes Schlapp. I'm on the campaign with the president. I had the honor of working with him at the White House for 2 years. And I gotta tell you, he's a rock star. I remember when there was a lot of these, what they call protests, and then they turned into riots happening. And he would come in and he'd say, you know what, I'm the president of law and order, and I'm gonna stand by my police. I'm gonna stand by the men and women in blue. And that's what he's done. And the other side has made a very clear decision, which is that to defund the police, to reimagine public safety, whatever that means. And if you dig into their policies, they want to redirect resources out of the pockets of our police departments. You all who protect us every single day and keep our communities safe. So I will tell you, we will fight every single day to get this president reelected, because he stands by you, he stands by your families, and your job is to make sure that you talk to your neighbors, talk to your family, talk to your friends and say, we have to go out and vote, and we have to deliver New Hampshire for President Trump. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Chief, great honor to be by your side, and know that you all are doing the great work for the people here in New Hampshire. And believe me, we won't stop fighting, the president won't stop fighting, and we need your help to get him to the finish line. So thank you so much.
To like and share and subscribe to this broadcast. Tonight we're broadcasting from on the road. We have spent the last 2 days traveling through New Hampshire and Maine. Now, we narrowly lost New Hampshire in 2016, and that's why we're here meeting with incredible women and patriots who know firsthand how important it is to re-elect President Donald J. Trump. I still don't consider that Joe Biden has come out of his basement and held a press conference yet. So we're still waiting, Joe. That did not qualify as a press conference when, to your point, the softball questions, the very coddled interviews, again, like with a little safe space, a puppy, everybody's all comfy and cozy here. And he still, by the way, can't even get through these very soft interviews, very soft questions. But to your point, who would be running this country, God forbid, if Joe Biden was elected president of the United States? And from the very early debates, I think it became very clear to people that something was off with Joe Biden. If we're all being very honest, we have a legitimate candidate for president of the United States whose cognitive ability most of the country is questioning. Truly, that is absolutely frightening. So what that tells you is that he would be merely a puppet. He would be a vessel for the far left, radical, socialist, Marxist Democrats to take over and fully implement the policies that they want in this country. And make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this would no longer be the United States of America. Joe Biden very proudly stood up on stage in one of those early debates and raised his hand and said he would be absolutely in favor of free health care for illegal immigrants in this country. He wants open borders. He, as we have discussed, wants to abolish the police in our country, defund the police. Could you imagine living in a society like this? And you bring up the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. Let's be very clear right now. Our First Amendment rights are very much at stake. Because what kind of country are we living in when people feel the pressure to not speak out about their political beliefs? That is not the United States of America. Guess who is standing up for that? Donald J. Trump. When you are threatened to possibly lose your job because you support the president, because you are a Republican, that is not acceptable. And we have been, he's made no bones about it. Beto, we're going to take your guns. O'Rourke is his gun czar. Okay? So that means goodbye to the Second Amendment. And as Katrina noted the other day on our program called The Right View, I'm going to do a plug. If you haven't seen The Right View, Wednesdays at 8 p.m., Team Trump Online. You might have heard of The View. We have another show, we call it The Right View, to see what we did.
There's so much better.
That show gives the right perspective on the issues.
Well, we felt like the ladies of The View didn't fully represent all the women in this country. What do you think? So we started our own show. But Katrina said it best. Things were written in order. The Second Amendment is in place to protect the First Amendment, right? So we cannot do without our Second Amendment. Everybody saw the McCloskeys, the people in St. Louis, who stood outside and protected, very rightfully, their private property when they felt their lives were being threatened, when they felt that their home was being threatened, their property was being threatened, when trespassers burst onto their property. Who knows what might have happened had they not done that, okay? And we are never giving up our Second Amendment rights in this country. Then you look at who Joe Biden has already named very happily as his climate change advisor, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Green New Deal, $9 trillion, no cows, okay? No airline travel, all done with that. But like, truthfully, if we're being very honest here, obviously that is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that it was even put in there is mind-boggling, but I think we see what we're dealing with there. The energy jobs that overnight would disappear in this country would be the millions by the millions, okay? So you have millions of people out of work. We currently are energy independent for the first time in American history. We are an exporter now, okay? As opposed to being reliant on the Middle East for our energy, we make it here at home now thanks to President Donald J. Trump, okay? All of that disappears overnight. But I do think that it is very concerning to people that we have, again, someone running for President of the United States who truly forgets where he is, forgets what position he's running for. He announced recently he's running for United States Senate. My name is Joe Biden, and I'd like your endorsement for United States Senate. But it does beg the question, who would be running this country? And the answer is that Joe Biden might look like a nice old man. He is the Trojan horse for the far left radical socialist Democrats. Don't be fooled at all, folks.
Hey, Laura, let me ask you, who would be under Joe Biden's administration the ambassador to China?
Maybe it's Hunter.
Oh, I can answer that one.
Where is Hunter? And what was promised for the $1.5 billion that Hunter received from the communist Chinese? Does anyone know? Has anyone talked about that when he flew over on Air Force Two? Could you imagine for a second if my husband Eric had done that? Unbelievable. People would be melting down left and right, media, hysteria. But Joe Biden gets a pass because the mainstream media is the marketing arm for the Democrat Party.
Don't get Pam started on that.
Here we go.
Don't get her started.
Well, I'll disagree with one thing. You said that everything would just disappear overnight, right? Well, New Hampshire might be the live free or die state, but eventually, Beto is gonna have to come to Texas, and my state is a come and take it state. We're not taking our guns. Maybe not overnight. We'll have a fight.
We've talked about healthcare, our communities, our neighborhoods. None of that's going to matter if we don't have law and order in this country. None of it. This is the future of our kids. Joe Biden said in a Now This interview, police have become the enemy. That is that man's mindset, and that should scare all of you to death in this country. And whether he's saying redirect police funds, it's the same thing as defunding the police in this country. We cannot have that. We all know the police are here to protect us. We love EMS, but they're not going to be patrolling the streets in the middle of the night in rough neighborhoods and able to go out and save a choking baby and be the first one to respond, like our great men and women in uniform are doing. Joe Biden will do away with that, and that should scare all of you to death. What has President Trump done? Operation Legend. Did you all see that? And who did he name it after? That beautiful little baby who was gunned down. And you saw Legend's parents, his mom, speak. And she said, protecting our communities, this shouldn't be political. Getting rid of our police are there to keep us safe. And that's what President Trump is doing. So now when we have all these liberal mayors out there, we have Portland, Seattle, New York, everything that's happening around this country, what did President Trump do with Operation Legend? Guess who he's sending in? ATF, DEA, U.S. Homeland Security. Get ready, people. Your communities are going to be safe despite these liberal mayors. Oh, and by the way, you're not going to go tear down the statue of Andrew Jackson in Lafayette Park either.
And I've never, in all the years I've crisscrossed this country, had somebody tell me, I can't wait to pick up the phone and have Antifa come to my home when I dial 911. Or they've asked me when I dial 911 what my socioeconomic status is, my race, my creed, my religion. It never happens. The people on the other end of that phone, they come when you call, every time, regardless of who you are, how wealthy you are, what color you are, what your religion is, what your sexual orientation is, they don't care. And the fact that we are potentially even talking about reallocating resources from these men and women who protect us every day from the evils that are out there makes me question what the values of our country are going forward. And the fact that the leading Democrat in this country is supporting removing money from police officers around this country and giving it to anarchists, domestic terrorists, who want to destroy our culture and our way of life, makes me wonder what's going on. That's not the country I want my children to grow up in. And these anarchists, and don't kid yourself, that's what they are. They tear down the statue of Frederick Douglass. They tear down the statue of Ulysses S. Grant. Men who fought for the rights of slaves to have the freedoms that they deserve. Men who fought for the African American community. But they don't care about that. The left doesn't want to tell you that story. They want to tell you it's about peaceful protesters who are only throwing Molotov cocktails through windows and destroying police departments and killing innocent civilians. This president stands with the police every single day.
We are all in this together. President Trump understands that. And he did everything that he could possibly think of, including going against his own advisors to close travel down from China as soon as we heard about this pandemic. And then minority-owned businesses. I mean, this just didn't start with pandemic. President Trump has been doing this from the beginning. You know, whether it be the opportunity zones and the tax cut bill, creating thousands of communities that are going to be developed, have prosperity brought in, opportunities never existed before. Creating a separate task force to study the disproportional impact on Black Americans. He didn't have to do that, but he did it because he cares. He wants to know how we can best take the whole government approach to help every single American in our country. And that's why we know that those record highs we saw before, now that Americans realize that he was right in 2016 when he said, we need to make our own drugs, we need to make our own supplies, we need to provide for our country. Everyone knows it's a fact. And that is why we know that in 2020, our president, when he is re-elected, is going to take this economy and grow it bigger and better and reach even more heights that the advisors are saying today can't happen, and that's why we know it's going to happen. Our president has been touched by the hand of God because there is no other person on any side of the aisle that could have built a massive economic infrastructure in record time, doing things that everyone else said couldn't be done. They said, we'll never bring back manufacturing to this country.
You have to have a magic wand to bring that back.
The last president said that. Think about that. The last leader of this country said it could not be done. You would need a magic wand. Thank you for that reminder. Donald Trump gets elected because people like you and Americans who know better, who know our country, is the most capable country in the world to be able to take that magic wand and say, abracadabra, here's your manufacturing jobs.
Look, we can all agree that this president did not need to do this job, ladies and gentlemen. He did this job because he loves this country, period. That is it.
Having our lunch. So I think, we're just so excited to be here. Now we have this big pink bus, and we stopped at a department store, and there were some women out there taking pictures, and so we just want America to know that this is not stopping us. We're going to be out there, we're going to be campaigning, and we want our kids back in school. Amen.